guys, calling this meeting to order. It is 12:31 on my end. Roll call.
Alex Catu, present.
Mary Hernandez, present.
Espi Ochoa, present.
Armin Garza, present.
And I think that's everybody, Doc, so I do declare a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Science. Do we have any public comments, Doc?
We have no public comments.
Okay, so then moving on to the tax collector report.
I so move to approve tax collector's report.
I have a motion. Can I have a second, guys?
Second.
Yes, first by Ms. Ochoa, second by Mr. Cantu. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Up next is the approval of minutes. We'll go with items 1, 2, and 3. Can I attain a motion? I have a
Just
motion.
for the record, I'm in, and it was 12:01, so I guess I'm a little behind on time. Alda Benavides.
Okay, thank you, Doc.
Yes.
Okay, you note that, Blanca, please. Okay. So if I can attain a motion, we're at approval of minutes, Dr. Benavides, for items 1, 2, and 3.
Don't move for items 1, 2, and 3.
I have a motion.
Second.
I'll take Mrs. Benavides, Dr. Benavides, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Up next is the superintendent's report. Dr. Science?
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. The first item on the report is the enrollment report. This report is as of December 1st, 2020. On that day, we had 12,126 elementary students, 14,540 secondary students, for a total of 26,666 students, and that is 698 students less than at this time last year.
Any questions, guys? Anybody have any questions? If not,
Thank you. The next item is the recognition of Palmview High School cross-country state qualifiers. We are postponing this item. I'm understanding that the coach and the athlete are having trouble tuning into our meeting, and so we will postpone this one for January.
Okay.
So the next item is recognition of Outstanding Service Award for Principals for the month of December. And Dr. Magda Villarreal, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, will give this award.
Thank you, Dr. Science. Good afternoon, Board President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Science. I am privileged to come before you to recognize one of our most distinguished principals in our district. Mr. Thomas Ocaña is receiving the Outstanding Service Award for Principals for the month of December. Those of you who know Mr. Ocaña know that he is creative, resourceful, and serves as a system of support for his staff. Under Mr. Ocaña's leadership, Ann Richards Middle School has excelled every year. As the instructional leader, he led the school to receive all distinctions and was rated an A campus by the Texas Education Agency. This year, the campus continues to grow due to the commitment of his staff and his leadership. So congratulations, Mr. Ocaña. Thank you for everything that you do for our community and our students.
Congratulations to Mr. Ocaña. Thank you, Dr. Villarreal.
Dr. Science, before we go on, Mrs. Ochoa, SP is having a hard time unmuting. If we can have her, somebody help with that. SP, are you doing good now?
Can you hear me?
I can check with that.
Yes, we can hear you, Ms. Ochoa.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Our next recognition is a recognition of Outstanding Service Award for high school teachers for the month of December. And Mr. Martin Munoz, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, will present this award.
Mr. President, Mr. Oscar Salinas, Madam Superintendent, Dr. Isela Sainz, members of the board, and distinguished guests to join us virtually and in person. I would like to again thank you for the opportunity to recognize some of our district's best with the Outstanding Service Award. This recognition is awarded to teachers that demonstrate exceptional instructional talent, are actively involved in the community, possess the respect of all the members of their school, and have an engaging and inspiring presence in their classrooms. To be eligible for this recognition, teachers were nominated by their campus principals and had to meet the following criteria. Their quality of work is performed in a sustained, outstanding manner. They instill in students a desire to learn and achieve. They demonstrate a thorough knowledge of the subject matter and the ability to share it effectively with students. They foster cooperative relationships with their colleagues and the community, and they demonstrate outstanding leadership. So from a pool of nominations, the following teachers were selected to receive the Outstanding Service Award for Teaching. From Area 1, we had Ms. Lisa Sullivan representing La Jolla High School. From Area 2, we had Ms. Marlene Benavides representing Juarez Lincoln High School. From Area 3, we had Mr. David Guate representing Palmview High School. And from our specialty schools, we had Mr. Ivan Silva representing Jimmy Carter Early College High School. So congratulations to these honorees.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Munoz.
Our next item is recognition of trustee Esperanza Espi Ochoa. Ms. Ochoa, on behalf of all of us, we have a plaque that we're going to be presenting to you. I will read the plaque. It says, La Jolla ISD honors Ms. Esperanza Espi Ochoa in appreciation for your outstanding commitment, service, and leadership to the students and staff at La Jolla ISD, School Board President 2019-2020, presented on December 9th, 2020. Thank you so much, Ms. Ochoa, for the many hours of service that you gave to our students and staff as a La Jolla ISD School Board of Trustees President. We know that serving as a school board member takes time and commitment, but serving as school board president requires even more from an individual. So on behalf of all of our students and all of our staff, Ms. Ochoa, thank you so much for your time and commitment.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to my colleagues for always supporting and all of us working together as a team. I can say to you and Coach, you're going to learn firsthand that this presidency was like no other, and it's because of this pandemic. But I can also say that all of us working together, we're going to continue to advocate what's best for our students, our district. And sometimes, you know, we're criticized because we're not doing a little bit more, but that sometimes stops us because we're dictated by the state. But I know that all of us working together, we want the very best for this district. So once again, thank you so much to all my colleagues, and I continue to work as a team because we are a team. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ochoa.
Thank you, SP. And I know that all of us kind of know or knew what was going on throughout your presidency. And of course, like you said, it's a team. So thank you, Dr. Science, and the whole administration and everyone that makes it happen. But thank you for everything. I know it was a hard one, and you did an outstanding job. Hopefully I can fill in your shoes. So thank you, SP, again.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas.
Okay, if anybody else. Okay, so moving on to the next item, guys, which is discussion items. Item number, actually, we'll be going, yeah, okay, discussion items. I'll take number 1. Usually the consent comes before, but that's fine. Discussion update on the PSI Guaranteed Energy Savings Performance Job Order Contract Projects.
Good afternoon, distinguished board president and distinguished board members. This afternoon, we're going to have Mr. Craig Burska from the Performance Services Company give us a brief update on the project, on the projects, and update status on all projects. Mr. Burska.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Science, again, Craig Bruska, the project manager for the Energy Savings Phase 2 and the job order contract. Taking us in right now, the HVAC work, we are 80% complete. All installation will be done by the end of Christmas break, with the exception of the outdoor air units or the energy recovery units. In the contract with the district, we only were going to refurbish them. PSI really looked at it again, and we decided to do a full replacement at our cost. So that's delayed it. So as soon as those pieces of equipment arrive in late January, we'll install those. But all the other work will be done this calendar year. To get us to the next phase, I'm sorry, jumped ahead here. The roof replacements, those were all completed. We're 100% complete. There's a little bit of the remaining money is retainage pending closeout. We're in the process of getting our closeout documents together. We'll be routing those through the construction manager and Mr. Villarreal to close those out. Juarez Lincoln Solar Field is 100% complete and been generating energy all summer. And that has remaining money that's retainage related, and that will be part of closeout that'll be coming shortly. The La Jolla High School, there was a question on our transformer. We sent it back to the manufacturer for rechecking. It passed all its checks and was returned. It's sitting in the field now and will be reconnected. AEP has already done their connections. We're coordinating now to have the electrical design engineer out to the site in the valley, and we'll have them powering it up as soon as they pass it. So we should be operational by 12/20 next week. Power conditioning has been online for about a year, but COVID disturbed our testing. We were going to test it as soon as the cooling season arrived. As soon as the cooling season arrived, but COVID had put buildings on minimum power and minimum staff. So we had to wait till fall when we brought the people back. And right now we're doing some final adjustments. We did Palmview High School just recently. We'll be doing the remaining ones here. Sorry, things in auto mode on me. And then we'll be doing that on the turf fields. Palmview is done and 100%. You can see on the picture, the delay of game clock was recently installed so they could play games there. At Juarez Lincoln, they're underway now. The thing that held us up there was the drainage district was a little slow on its work on Texan Avenue. They're past now, and we've got our crews in place. So we're 70% complete. We've invoiced 63%. So that's where we're sitting. Most recently and covered in this pay application is the new rooftop unit at Ann Richards and the rooftop unit replaced at the administrative building. At the vocational building, we put on a new roof and replaced several of the units there that were out of, needing service upgrades. The others were replaced on new pads and pedestals, new conduit, and new refrigerant lines were installed. So everything is operational at there, and the skylights were removed at the high school, main high school building, and those were addressed. At Juarez Lincoln, as I told you, they're operational and will be powering up La Jolla Array as soon as the engineer does his final pre-power checks. I told you about the power conditioning, and the power conditioning units are much like the large, if you have a surge suppressor on your computer, it's a more industrial scale unit that goes, one or more of those go at each of the schools that we did. At Juarez Lincoln, this was taken earlier this week, showing about half of the installation in place. This is the rubberized or epoxy-coated shredded rubber material that acts as the buffer for both drainage, so water can percolate the stone base below. The stone's on the right with the roller going around it, and then the rubberized material is there. We also removed the old track asphalt subbase and have replaced that. So as soon as the turf field is in place, we will then do the track. The security gates and fences are in place. We are 98% complete. We will have all gates operational by 1:15. At the elementary school, we are 97% complete. The only thing that is remaining is Payne Elementary School, and that was because the original location per the agreement was not buildable because of utility easements that weren't known at the time. So we had to move it to the detention area. And because of that, we had to get permission from the drainage district because we restructured how the detention area functioned. It actually slightly increased its capacity, but it required a lot of interagency discussions. But we were able to work through that. As you can see, the new track at Paredes, the card reader at Escondón shows a rather simple track runway for the gate here. And when we go, and then we have the new Garza and Gonzalez are the two most recently completed gates. And then we have the gates at Flores and JFK, and you can see we have different operational and construction requirements based on the topography, which has made each site slightly unique and required coordination and planning. We've also had to do some adjustments. At Lloyd Benson, we moved the gate, the location of the motorized gate at the request of the principal. That was done via Mr. Villarreal, and we had to put some additional fencing in. And then the new motorized gate had to be repaired at Trevino after the hurricane. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions the board has.
The only thing I had on the security gates and fencing, it says scheduled completion and it says 1/30/2020. And I take it it's 1/30/2021.
Yes, ma'am. If I mistype that, I apologize. It's that transition at the end of the year. Yes, the gates will be operational. What we mean by operational is that our portion of the work is completely done. It can read the swipe card. It can work. It's tied to the network. Schools then coordinate issuing the white swipe cards that I think you as board members have. Each of the staff will have those as well as punch ID numbers to punch into the codes. And that's a school coordination issue. So operational means our portion makes it technically ready, and 1:30 is when we get all the final details, punch list, any things that have to be done by the end of January.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions, anyone? Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item, presentation of the La Jolla ISD Rapid Testing Program.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Science, administration, community. We come before you to give you a presentation on something that's very important. As you all know, we are doing everything as a district to cooperate with the county and everybody regarding the COVID crisis that we have in the pandemic. So over the last several months, as a district, we have partnered with the county to provide testing sites so that we can continue to identify people that need to stay away from the district, people that need to stay away from the schools, and more importantly, to make sure that we assist in controlling the spread of the COVID-19. Recently, the Texas Education Agency approved a project for districts in partnership with the Department of State Health Services and the Texas Department of Emergency Management to provide additional COVID-19 testing for students and students only. Obviously, we would have to get formal consent from students' legal guardian before we start administering the tests. So who is getting tested with this program that we want to get approved? Staff and students identified in tiers 1, 2, and 3. So our district crisis team has reviewed and identified the students and the staff that we want to test. The first tier would be a targeted approach. This is the highest priority for testing. This is for exposed individuals who are identified through contact tracing. And then this testing will be done as needed. For example, if somebody has symptoms or somebody was exposed and met the criteria of contact, then we would offer this testing for those individuals to make sure that they are not infected with the virus. The second tier, tier 2, is for all of our students and staff participating in extracurricular activities. Earlier in the year, when we decided that we're going to provide an opportunity for kids to participate in extracurricular activities, one of the things that the staff asked us to do, and the board supported and the administration supported, was that we provide testing before the kids participate in any activities. So we've been doing that. Recently, testing sites have been limited. So this would allow us to provide testing for students before they start a season. Right now we have basketball season for boys and girls, and soccer season already started. We just finished the football season. So this would allow for our trainers to provide this training for our students and our staff. And once the season starts, we want to continue to do this testing at least once a week during the time that the season's in session. And then tier 3 is for the staff. If the staff wants to get tested, it's an optional, okay? It's not mandated, but when they come back or they return from the Christmas break, if they want to get tested, they can get tested. They don't have to wait for a site to be available. So when we come back from the holidays, this will be available for the staff if they want to get tested. We need people to administer the test, and our nurses and our trainers, which have been identified as test administrators, have started their training. We have a large percentage of the nurses already completed their online training, so they'll be ready to come in and properly administer the test once we get this program approved. How long does it take for us to get results? It would take us 15 minutes. It could take us a little bit less than that. So we will know immediately whether or not somebody is infected with the virus. And basically how it's a no swab administered test. The adults can do it themselves. Obviously for the students and the younger ones, we would have to assist them in getting them tested. So what happens to the results? Just like anything else, the results, the staff or the students will be notified, and also the nurse and the trainer. And then once we identify those that are infected with the virus, we would implement the approved district protocols that we already have outlined in our reopening plan. So if they test positive, then they get quarantined, we continue to do the contact tracing. If we identify other individuals that need to be tested, then we do that. So the question was how many tests are available. So TEA sent us over 10,800 tests. Along with the test, we received PPEs to include masks, face shields, surgical masks, gloves, and gowns so that we can go ahead and proceed with this testing. Once these tests have been used, once we get to a percentage of how many we have left, we are eligible to get resupplied. And we would contact TEA and get more testing as we move forward. And so now that we know this, we want your approval so we can start our testing program or be available starting next Monday. However, we want to continue partnering with Hidalgo County and TDEM to look for other resources so that we can continue testing, because these tests are only for students and staff, and we want to make testing available for the community. And the only way we can do that is we have to continue with the county, TDEM. There's another program that just recently reached out to us. We're going to be reviewing that to see if it's something that we could be interested in also merging with them so that we can provide this service. And then the only thing that we are required to do at the very end is to make sure that we make the proper reporting to DSHS of how many tests we have available, results are coming, what are the results. And then the campuses will have to notify the families, just like we do right now. If there's a confirmed case, we have to make those notifications. That is what we're looking forward for your approval later on in the agenda. This is something that we already have the materials. We're ready to go. But we wanted to bring it to the board so they can know where we're at with this program. Questions or comments about this program?
When will training begin for nurses?
Excuse me?
It says that administration, the test, nurses and trainers. When will this training take place for them?
It's an online training. TEA is providing this through an online training. My understanding is that more than 50% of the nurses have already gotten their training and they've got their certificates already.
Good afternoon. This is Ms. Morales, the district nurse. All nurses have been trained already, and we already have the certifications. All nurses have already been trained.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Morales, and to your team.
Chief, and I'm sorry if I missed it, but where will these tests be conducted? Did you mention that? Where are we going to have them?
So these tests are going to be done at every campus. So for example, the athletes that need to be tested in tier 2 from Juarez Lincoln, they will be done at their campus by the trainers. The same thing with the other high schools. In tier 1, if we have a targeted person that needs to be tested, it will be done at the campus, and the nurse at that campus will take care of it.
Oh, okay.
Something else to note is that the training does not necessarily have to be by a professional, like a nurse or a nurse assistant. This training is online. So if at any point we need to train any other professional or any school personnel to conduct these tests to students or to employees, we may. The test is online. As long as they take the online training, they're certified to do this test. But of course, we wanted to start with the trainers and the nurses, which are our trained personnel, medical trained personnel.
Any more questions, guys? Okay, thank you, Chief. And thank you,
Chief.
Ms. Wallace. Okay, moving on to the next one, guys. Be the number 3 discussion of the La Jolla ISD Child Adult Care Food Program.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Board President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Science, and guests who are joining us virtually. Thank you so much for having our department in through today's meeting. I'm here to present what child nutrition in La Jolla ISD is doing. So our La Jolla ISD Child Nutrition Program operates under the 4 federal programs under the guidance of TDA, also known as Texas Department of Agriculture. So in your screen, you'll be able to see we have 4 programs that we're currently operating in a normal school year. Due to the circumstances that we're living in right now with the coronavirus 19 and the different options that we have been given to operate and provide services, La Jolla ISD under the TDA guidance, we are selecting the option of program number 3 and program number 4. So program number 3 would be Child and Adult Care Food Program, in which I will be presenting today for all of you. But I would like to also take a moment to share also that we have been currently implementing the summer feeding program since this school year started. We started virtually this school year, and TDA was able to grant us permission to do non-congregate meals. And we have been serving our community through the SSO, also known as the Seamless Summer Option. And that's what's being implemented as we speak in our campuses, in our district for our community. We operate breakfast and lunch Monday through Friday, and we're able to provide meals, breakfast and lunch Monday through Sunday. Every Friday, our students who participate in our curbside take home a breakfast and lunch for Saturday and Sunday. So now, beginning December 1st, we're able to operate the Child and Adult Care Food Program. So I just want to say, go ahead. I'm sorry, I heard no noise. So I just wanted to share that La Jolla ISD Child Nutrition Department, we're still committed to provide as much help and services to our community. So a lot of us, we know that many of our students don't have access to meals on a regular, daily basis. So we're here to offer not only breakfast, lunch, and now we also offer supper. So we know that during this pandemic, a lot of families have been facing food insecurity. And for that, La Jolla is here to help. So what does food insecurity mean for many people? It's just not knowing what we're gonna have for breakfast or lunch or dinner on that day or the next day or the next day for you or your family. So many parents are facing this huge challenge as we see that our community are losing jobs. Our economy is not functioning as normal as we had it. So a lot of our families have a lot of struggles finding ways to provide meals for their students. And CNS, Child Nutrition, is here to make sure we take away that stress from the parents, and we encourage students to only focus on getting through and providing a learning remotely from our awesome team in our district. So in front of you, you will have a small table that I would just wanted to share. We began, La Jolla ISD CNS began the Child and Adult Care Food Program back in January 8, 2020. So if you see January, February, March, we were able to operate under normal conditions. We were told to cease normal actions and activities mid-March. And since then, we operated the Summer Seamless program. And I'm proud to say that we, CNS La Jolla ISD, provided 1.6 million meals to all our community during this period of March to July. So I want to take a moment to thank all our staff, all our cafeteria managers, all our cafeteria helpers, all of you, all 300 of you. Thank you so much for working so hard and working together as a team in providing 1.6 million meals to our community. During that period, we were implementing service in a cold service, in a cold method service. We were giving cold meals. That was in prevention of the coronavirus spread, as we were learning very few things about the virus early on in the school year. So the district was very supportive into providing everything we needed to conduct these summer operation programs during those months. And I want to thank all of your support for keeping us safe and for allowing us to serve our community. September, we came back and opened virtually, and we were also supported by the Texas Department of Agriculture with the guidance of Region 1 into implementing new laws, new practices into our programs, and providing meals in a non-congregate way to provide a support to prevent the spread of the virus. So in the month of September, we were able to provide supper, and we returned back in December 1st. And here is some information of the menu that we have. We're back providing the supper this past Tuesday. And I have in front of you, and this can be easily accessed in our website. One of the supper requirements is to make sure our students are required to provide name and age at the time of service. And also we're everything is linked to an enrichment program. So in the bottom of the menu, as you see in your screen, you're going to see that we're guiding all our students and that are participating in the supper to click on the links that we have been able to provide for them with nutritional education, as it is a very important component and requirement by the state for everyone who participates in a summer program at risk. So here is the menu. It's accessible to all through the web, and we also provide copies to all our participants daily. We are currently open in 11 sites. We call them 11 curbsides, 11 campuses. And in your screen, you'll be able to see 11 of them, in which 3 are high schools. And thank you for the principals for providing support, as our high schools are the biggest areas of storage capacity and distribution. So we always have those schools active and open to our community. We have 1 middle school, and we have quite a few elementaries, in which if you look at the map of our district, we're able to expand and provide coverage in service in all La Jolla ISD district. So it's free for all children 18 years and younger. We encourage them to come through our 11 curbsides daily to obtain a hot meal. And we're open from 1 hour, from 4:30 to 5:30. And this has allowed our staff to work with 2 schedules and provide the service safely. and also work with the staff that we currently have. So it has been successful. And I want to share with you the first day, last Tuesday, December 1st, we were able to be starting services in 11 campuses. And I'm able to share with you Flores Elementary, Corina Peña, JFK. These are just few pictures that I'm able to share with you. We have a lot of participation. We're currently providing about 2,000 meals of supper meals every day through our curbside, open Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 5:30. And it's been successful, and I want to thank everyone, because child nutrition department is not just one person, one group. It is a complete team effort from the district. So I want to take the moment to thank everyone behind what we're doing. The custodial department, to Mr. Lando Nacianceno, thank you so much for bringing everything we need into keeping our staff safe, sanitation, and keeping COVID-19 in our priority for safety. Energy department, Mr. Lloyd Loya, very helpful. Every time we need their help, they're there to help in a timely manner. Transportation department, Mr. Raul Gonzalez, Mr. Joe Alanis, and Mr. Benito Salinas, amazing team that we have supporting every day in our services to our community through mobile buses. We have 10 buses reaching out 30 stops, 30 locations into our community to make sure every child focuses on education and don't worry about hunger. We're here to help. And again, police department, thank you for keeping us safe. Sometimes we work late hours, as we see it right now. It's getting dark earlier. So a lot of our staff, it feels safe when you are there. And thank you so much for providing that assistance for the community to stay safe and for the staff to stay safe, providing this amazing service. And at the end, it's all of us as a team, administration, board of trustees. Thank you so much for putting your faith and your guidance, your support into our department. And we're learning as we go, just like everybody. Our program completely took a different turn, and we are here to learn together how to provide this essential service of food to our community and allow our students to just focus on academics and learning and getting through this coronavirus pandemic time. At the time, I would also like to invite and ask, here are some more pictures of our team. I would like to invite into the presentation Ms. Carmen Ocaña Lerma. She's the director for Region 1, and she has been my number one, or our number one supporter into making sure that every law, every guideline that has been modified by the state due to this pandemic is implemented to the fullest operation and following the law. So here is Ms. Carmen Ocaña. Thank you.
Thank you, Galina. Great presentation. Good afternoon. This is Carmen Ocañas, your servant. And on behalf of Region 1 and our executive director, I want to thank La Joya ISD for providing this essential service to your community. And I know that the staff has worked so hard to make this happen. So pandemic feeding has been quite the theme for us for the last several months. And just so you know, Region 1 provides support to 46 different school districts. And we also assist the daycare side, or the child and adult daycares. We have 389 of those contracts. And within those contracts, we can have 10, 20, or even 100 daycares inside of these contracts. So it has been quite a challenge from March 13th to assist all of these entities to transfer over from what they were doing before, which was the normal operation, normal business, to the pandemic feeding. And so Galina hit it right on the nail, you know, when she displayed the 4 different feeding models and 4 different feeding programs that we have. So if you can imagine somebody having engine failure in mid-flight of an airplane and having to make those repairs, that's what these school districts and daycares had to do in March and in summer. And then again, when we started up with school, because once we started the school year, districts had to make a decision on whether to stay national school lunch or move forward to summer seamless. And that created a little bit of havoc in the contract application, because school districts did their contract in the summer, and then daycares had to do their contract renewal September 30th. So there was an overlap of all kinds of different situations going on. But I can honestly say that all of the Region 1 area handled it so very well, and everybody just went to task and started doing what we do best, is to feed children, and that is what we're here for. So I know that it got a little bit difficult, or for, I guess, behind the scenes, things that you don't see. Behind the scenes, it got difficult and it was very trying, but you know, everybody surfaced to the top and they just rose to the occasion. And La Jolla ISD is known for chiming in and providing these valuable meals and the meal service to these kids. So really, I mean, kudos goes out to the team and to the administration as well. 1.6 million is not shabby at all. That is a lot of meals. So thank you all for doing that. And I will stick around if you have any questions for me. You can place them in chat. I will also place my email address in the chat if you want to contact me for other any information that you would like regarding the program. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Carmen, so much. Are there any questions that you would have for us?
Galina, I have one question on the,
yes.
Back in September 2020, you had the you had the supper meals, and then I know that you stopped them for 2 months. Could you tell me what the amount of money the district lost as a result of stopping these meals for these 2 months?
Yes, financially, we're currently losing money month to month. I can tell you that on the numbers just in September and August, we lost 1.1 million for not operating the normal way that we currently do a year in and out. September, we lost 1.4 million. And October, we're still wrapping the numbers to come to a close. So that would bring it to $2.5 million. And it's a collaboration with breakfast, lunch, and for supper, we get reimbursement of a 3.51. So it would be about $500,000 roughly, but I could be able to give you a more solid number once we close October and compare the numbers.
Okay, and could you also tell me how many cafeteria staff lost hours or wages as a result of this decision?
Right now, I'm currently working with 313 employees under my department, and we are getting assistance from other departments. So we're already struggling. I thank the transportation department for having that support. But to give you an exact number on the amount of hours, I will need to come back and give you that report or provide it to Dr. Science. I don't have that information with me, but I will look for it for you.
Okay, because I know some cafeteria ladies shared with me of lost wages, and I was just wondering how much they lost and how many of them lost wages as a result of not having the dinners during October and November.
I have a question. Dr. Science, are we paying our employees for the CNS department their full 40 hours, whether they go in full time or not?
None of our employees have lost wages during the pandemic. Whether they have reported to work or not. Some of them, different departments have been on staggered schedules, but all of our employees have continued to earn their wages.
One more question. On our employees, I know I've had concerns on some employees from everywhere. It's not necessarily the CNS department, but I know that they're working their 40 hours a week. What measures are we taking just to try to keep them at least safe? Because I know, we're trying to get as many people not to, be at the schools because of the COVID, and it's getting worse and worse. What extra measures are we taking for these employees that are having to work their 40 hours and be at the schools so that we can keep them safe? Because in my opinion, a life doesn't have a price, but it's just we always take pride in taking care of our employees. So what extra measures are we implementing with these employees so that they can, be working in a very safe environment?
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Of course, as a district, we do have our COVID-19. Excuse me. As a district, we do have our district COVID-19 safety protocols in place. And they are things, for example, mask wearing, social distancing. Different departments have staggered schedules. Of course, bringing in the staff that is needed only, not necessarily everyone in the department coming in at the same time. But the department directors are making decisions as to who is needed for the task that needs to be completed. And so scheduling is probably one of the most flexible tools that we have to continue to keep employees safe. Of course, also along with our disinfecting procedures that we have. So it really depends on different departments and the types of procedures that are in place, as well as the scheduling.
Thank you, Dr. Simons.
Thank you.
Any more questions, guys?
Thank you.
On the time, Galina, I
Yes.
really understand. I know it's getting darker earlier and all that, but I would just ask for you to keep a watch to see on the participation, because I know a lot of parents, the ones that do have a job, bless their hearts, get out at 5. And so if it closes at 5:30, I don't know if everybody is really taking full advantage of this, of the supper, because it is kind of early for them to be able to go collect it. And I would just say that you be aware of that and make sure that they are getting full benefit, because if they get out of work at 5, I don't think they would be able to go to their school by 5:30 and get the supper that they need, or the suppers that they need to pick up for their children.
I would definitely keep that in mind, Dr. Benavides, and I'm already being proactive with the team. We are adjusting campuses production as needed. We're going to be staying with 1 hour because it's getting dark, and some of the concerns of the staff is that it's dark and they're ladies, they're late. So they wanted to perhaps wait December, and when the time changes, they would like to revisit that idea. I have already brought it up to my team, and we're looking into increasing the accounts and meals on those 11 sites that we have we're providing service all across the district, from Sullivan all the way to Palm Beach. So even if you get out of work at 5, we're going to be doing our very best to make sure we have available meals until 5:30, so those parents can reach out to the nearest location after they get out of work. But thank you.
That would be good. Just make sure that parents are aware of that, it doesn't have to be their child's school. It can be any school that they
anyway.
Pick it up.
Galina, real quick, just I have a little concern. It's because I've got a couple of calls from parents in the Corina Peña area. Would that be a site that we might consider in the future? Because I know that like 4 Mile Line, 5 Mile Line, they don't, I guess they don't want to drive.
Corina
it's hard for
Peña,
them for the dinner.
Correct. Okay. Corina Peña is open, sir.
For the dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, we're good.
Okay, no, we're good.
Yes, we're covering Peñitas. For Sullivan, we're covering Benavides and Sanford Dice. For La Jolla, we're keeping La Jolla High School open for all the nearby areas. For Peñitas, we have covered from JFK to Corina Peña all the way to Clinton. And Palm Beach, you have multiple areas from Escandon, JD, Juarez, Lincoln. So we're trying to be available in the entire map of our community, so our parents don't have to drive so far, and it's somewhere close by to where they work or where they live. And all kids are able to come in 18 years and younger. All we ask is that they provide their name and their age. They don't have to be present, and they'll receive a hot meal.
How many meals can a parent pick up? That's my last question.
As long as we have proof of, we need to verify. So parents are being asked to bring a birth certificate. They can bring a report card. They can bring the child if they want to. And the child nutrition department is trained to verify the process that TDA implemented. We give a voucher, a card, and that is what they use. So if you have 3 verified individuals under the age of 18, you are able to receive 3 meals. And for supper, it would be, we collect the 3 names with the 3 ages.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Galina, and I will await the amount of money that was lost for October.
I will work on that, Dr. B. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Reyes, too, for just like Ms. Ocaña said, you know, you've been problem solving everything as you go, and everybody has been very essential in all departments to make sure that your CNS department continues to operate. And I also want to extend publicly to Ms. Ocaña appreciativeness and gratitude in supporting you and making sure that everything's in compliance and being a great support to our district.
Thank you, Ms. Espy. And I just want to close by saying that the top priority for our department in our district is the safety of the staff. And my staff will be able to answer that, everyone, that number one is safety, COVID prevention, COVID awareness, and also COVID education. So, and then the rest. So just wanted to close my presentation with that peace of mind that I'm making it my number one priority to make sure we provide everything the staff needs to stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Reyes.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on, guys, to the next one. That'd be item number 4, discussion on the 1,463 students who do not have internet infrastructure. Doc.
Everyone, I do have a short presentation for you all in regards to several components of our technology plan. So I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Dr. If you could just concentrate on slides 45, 47, 48, and 49.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the other board
Yes,
members have had the presentation about the technology plan and they've had all that. So I don't want to be redundant for them. But I think 45, 47, 48, and 49 will answer the questions that I had. And at that time, I will ask any other further questions that I have.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to do that. Let me go ahead and go straight to slide 45, which is this one right here.
Unless
so, basically,
I'm sorry, unless any of the other board members want all the other slides.
We're good with just those.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So on slide 45, and Dr. Benavides, just I might have to ask you to go ahead and repeat those slides as I'm going through. But on slide 45 right here, basically what you have is a summary of by levels of all the students that have no infrastructure. So for example, at the elementary level, we have a total of 688 students that were identified. At the middle school, we have a total of 330, and at the high school, 445, giving us a grand total of 1,463. And what was asked was that we wanted to see what was it that we were doing for these kids that were identified, right? And that's what you're going to see in the following slides. So basically, as a district, we understood that keeping our students connected to the internet was crucial as a district, basically going virtually, right? So as a district, early on in the year, last year, we went ahead and approved, or the board approved, Wi-Fi on wheels. So when the COVID-19 hit the nation, one of the things that we did was right away, we went ahead and put out 28 buses, Wi-Fi buses out into the community to be able to connect these students. And that went from March 23rd all the way to April 27th. And then our technology department, along with transportation, worked on getting additional buses, and that increased the number to 51, as you can see there. And that went from April 27th all the way to May 22nd. And currently, right now, we have a total of 50 buses that are out there in the community. Something else that we did, you all, is that we went ahead and purchased 45 external Wi-Fi access points. And those are installed all over our district in our buildings. For example, there's one in every single campus, and there's some in the around in our different buildings. For example, one at central office, some at the CNS building. And what that does, it radiates Wi-Fi signal up to 1/4 mile radius. Okay. We also purchased the 10,000 Verizon hotspots that have been issued out to the campuses and obviously to our students. We also had 800 iPhones that we're currently using at hotspots, and all of those have already been issued out to our kids. We did receive this past Friday a total of 4,089 T-Mobile hotspots, and we are going to be issuing those out as needed.
On those hotspots, I know that Sanford Eyes had 209, Clinton had 264, De Zavala 107, Dr. Science 217, and La Jolla High School 285. So I know that those schools, because they're in the triple digits of kids who don't have connectivity, they need to be top priority for whatever they need. So with those hotspots that you got, check to see if any of those schools that have the triple digits of kids who don't have connectivity, if that will help them, because I know that the largest numbers exist in those 5 schools.
Absolutely. And obviously, what the principals did is they gave us a request, and as needed, we've been giving them out to them. And if, as of right now, anything that has been requested, we've issued out, Dr. Benavides.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that we've been able to do is work collaboratively with Hidalgo County, and our community is going to benefit out of this. And what we have is the interlocal agreement. And what this is going to go ahead and do is it's going to help our community with distance learning, technical improvement, and also with improving telework. And what this agreement does is basically it's going to install 6 towers that's going to improve the connectivity for our community. So let me just go ahead and show you right here that in the area of Sullivan, we have 2 towers that have already been set up, and it's going to serve 762 students. So like you just mentioned, Dr. Benavides, again, that area, because we have so many kids there, that was an area that was identified. And those towers are already up. As a matter of fact, they should be up and running within the next 2 weeks. We spoke to Mr. Salinas from Hidalgo County, I believe, and he told us that it's up. It already has, we're checking on power, and it should be up and running within the next 2 weeks. These 2 towers and the towers, that additional tower that's scheduled, that's up in Seguin. I'll talk a little bit about that one next. We have in zone 2, that's 1,586 students that will be serviced, and that one's up in Sable Palm Drive, mile 7. And this one is in the area of Dr. Science Middle School. And this one, we did get word today that we're going to have to go ahead and wait on this one. We are going to meet with Hidalgo County to see what is the status.
Before you move on from that one, so you said
Yes,
that for tower number 1 or zone 1, that tower is already up, and that in the next 2 weeks, that should be up and running. Did I hear that correctly?
That is correct. That's what we're hearing here from Hidalgo County.
Okay, so that will include Sanford Eyes.
Correct, ma'am.
Okay, because that's one of those schools that has those triple digits of kids who don't have connectivity. So those schools, I feel, need to be given priority really quick so that we can reduce the number of kids in those schools, because Fordyce is a small school and 209 of them don't have connectivity. So that's a lot of students that are not, just not connected. And so,
Yes.
okay.
Dr.
And then
Benavides, when the technology department worked with Hidalgo County, they worked on these numbers. And so the schools that had these high numbers of kids without connectivity, La Jolla High School, Sanford Eyes, Clinton Elementary, the towers were placed in strategic locations to be able to reach these populations. So those are the kids that will be reached.
I figured that's how that was done, but it's still a pressing concern for me.
Yes.
On the zone 2, there's Dr. Science and Clinton. Where in what zone is De Zavala and La Jolla High School?
Again, De Zavala and La Jolla High School fit into zone 1, Dr. Benavides, because keep in mind that that Sanfordized kids, the Sullivan kids feed into the Zavala and La Jolla High School.
So in 2 weeks, the Sanfordized, De Zavala, and La Jolla High School should be taken care of.
That is correct. Again, that's what we're hearing from Hidalgo County, because those 2 towers are already up. So this is what's happening, that once the towers are up, the next step is to get power. There's some radios, they're calling them radios, and what they do is they go and install them in the power sources. And once those radios are installed, then they have to check that the power is actually streaming to the tower. And then that's the stage that we're in. So within the next 2 weeks, that's what they're going to be working on. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So
I'm okay then with the other 2. I mean, I get it. I understand, where the other towers are going to be located. I understand that schools were having difficulty getting their hotspots. Could you follow up on that and make sure that there's no problem in that principals, for example, they have to turn in the bad hotspot to get the new hotspot, and just, making things a little difficult. And I think right now the priority has to be that the kids have access as soon as possible, and that we accelerate it rather than slow it down. And so if you could please follow up with that, I think that would be good for the children.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Benavides. And like always, La Jolla ISD is always trying to improve what we issue out to our kids. And Verizon did come up with an upgrade on hotspots. And obviously, if there's an upgrade and something better, we will provide to our kids. And that's exactly what we're doing at this point in time. We did get the upgrade, and we're swapping it as we speak. And again, without any loss of instruction, we're trying to work that out. That's why it is taking a little bit of more time, but that's what we're currently doing. And that's what you're probably hearing. Okay.
And the reason I'm really, really concerned is because there's one thing, connectivity is one thing, but there's several things that contribute to kids being successful with virtual learning. And the other thing is, of course, having the space, and a lot of our children don't have the space because they live in small homes. And then, of course, the other thing is having an adult to help them. But some of my colleagues in our last board meeting were mentioning how difficult it was, even with them being a support system to their kids. And they're blessed that they're able to do that. But not all parents are able to do that. Right. So connectivity is just step 1. Then there's the other things that contribute to kids being successful as they learn virtually. And so that's why to me, there's a sense of urgency, because there's other phases that are also important, or other aspects that are also important for kids to be learning. And right now, because of the situation that we're in, it has really, kids are falling behind, and that's nationwide. It's not just La Jolla ISD. They're falling behind, and that the normal child right now is about 5 to 7 months behind. That's provided that the kid was not behind already. If the kid was behind already, then it's going to be additional time. And that's why, to me, there's a sense of urgency in the sense of how long it's going to take us to get the access to the kids, because every day kids are falling further and further behind.
You are correct. And again, seeking out the towers, the connectivity, and so forth. I mean, that's exactly what we did as a district, to try to connect these kids and making sure that they have what they need, because that's our number 1 priority, that we ensure our kids are being educated, and so thank you for that, Dr. Benavides.
I have a question, Dr. Villarreal. If parents want to send their children to school, especially because a lot of parents work and they're not able to be there with the kids, can they send them to school? And if so, who do they contact so that they can arrange the logistics?
Well, if they want to send them to school, one of the things that they need to do, they contact the principal, the campus, they call it campus, and the campus will be able to take care of ensuring that they come back. Again, if the students are having issues whatsoever, at home, grasping the learning or whatever, and the parent feels that they need to have in-class instruction, absolutely, we're ready to service the kids in class or virtually. And again, I think as a district, we've done a great job providing that to, providing the equipment, the devices, and to not only our community, but also to our teachers.
I have a question. In regards to some of the new initiatives that are coming in, as far as like the towers and different stuff like that, the fact that Verizon is able to upgrade that stuff, are we planning to continue having the mobile Wi-Fi out there, or is it something we're looking to phase out?
The mobile Wi-Fi, Mr. Garza, that's a good question too. We're looking to keep it, sir, to ensure that we can continue to go ahead and do that, because with everything else, Mr. Garza, I think that it's a service that is essential for our community. I mean, once we see how well everything is working, then we might consider, okay, let's go ahead and maybe, regress on the how much we're servicing the community in that sense. But for now, I think that we should keep it. That would be our recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
We will continue to monitor reception in the different areas. If because of the towers, it becomes apparent that the mobile bus is not needed, of course, then we will not assign that bus. But we're just going to need to continue to monitor reception in the different areas. And I do want to say that for these 1,463 kids, we did have CNI and Technology Department go out to the houses. They tried every single device that we had that was available on the market. But of course, because there was no infrastructure such as towers, that is the reason why these kids continue to not have internet access. And as soon as the county, through their CARES Act funding, had these towers available, La Jolla ISD was one of the first districts that began meeting with the county to be able to access these towers. And so it has been a priority for us to get this internet access for these 1,463 kids. It has just been a project that has taken time because of the scope of the work. I know the Hidalgo County also worked as fast as they could. They knew the urgency in meeting with us. And as soon as we were able to, we began talking with them and planning and accessing these towers for our kids.
Dr. Science, I was just going to say that sometime back I had a conversation with Mrs. Leal, and I know that through grants, she got some of the Verizon hotspots, and it's a fact. And I know that with the towers, it should improve it. But I'm going to use Sullivan, but specifically Los Ébanos as an example, that there is no connectivity there. And I think that if we have the buses, like I know Dr. Benavides was asking, and I think it's going to take 2 weeks, I think we need to double up on the buses if we're available with the Wi-Fi. Like in Los Ébanos is an example. If we're sending 2 buses, well, why don't we send 4 or 5 buses to those areas or to the areas in need, for this 2 weeks? Because Verizon is not working in Sullivan at all. Maybe with the new tower it will, but it's not. So can you look into that for transportation? And maybe we're able to double up. And not necessarily just like Los Ébanos, but anywhere that it's needed.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas.
We'll do that, Mr. Salinas.
Okay.
And then again, I'm going to reiterate that if the campuses are asking for the hotspots and we do have them, that they not be given a hard time, that they be issued out as soon as possible so that kids no longer lose time. Please.
Yes, we'll go ahead and do that, Dr. Benavides. The new hotspots came in on Friday, so we're going to start working on those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and these are basically zone 3, 4, and 5. And as you can see, the amount of students that they'll service, zone 3, 421, zone 4, 755, and then zone 5, 2,000. And again, I just want to say that the one at Seguin is the one which is zone 3 is the one that's already up. And that one should also be ready to go in 2 weeks, according to Hidalgo County. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Villarreal.
Yes, ma'am. And again, based on this, we should service over 5,000 kiddos, 5,500 kiddos overall with this particular agreement. And we will be having a meeting with Hidalgo County because, like I mentioned, they're considering of not following through with two particular towers because of the fact that they're having issues within the area. So we'll be talking to them to see how we could go ahead and assist. Okay.
Okay.
As far as the actual moving on with devices, one of the things that the board approved and was that we were going to ensure that every single student received a electronic device. And I just wanted to give you all just a brief summary of where we were at. As far as the elementary campuses, we've issued out a total of 11,347 devices. For the middle schools, a total of 6,234 devices. And at the high school, a total of 5,256 devices, giving us a grand total of 22,837 devices that we've issued out. Probably a little bit more since these are totals from November 13th. And we currently have, 26,666 students enrolled in our district. So we're lacking 3,800 students that we haven't issued out devices to. And those are probably students that have their own personal device that they're currently using. But if they were to ask for one, we're ready to issue out a device to those students. Each campus has a surplus of devices that they could go ahead and issue out if they were to get a new student into their campus. Okay. Any questions that you all might have?
I'm just going to go ahead and add to that, Doc, on the buses. One of the other things that the parents were saying were, I'm not sure if they're for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, but some of the parents are saying that their kids start working on it and then the bus leaves and they're unable to complete the assignment. So if maybe we can increase buses, but also increase the time that they're stationed in their areas.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Salinas.
And also communicate to the parents the hours that they will be there so that they can help the children make sure that they work during that time.
We'll go ahead and do that, Dr. Benavides and Mr. Salinas.
Thank you.
Any questions, guys?
Very good, Coach.
Thank you, Dr. Villarreal.
Thank you, Dr. Villarreal. Next one up, guys, is number 5, discussion of the La Jolla ISD 2020-21 budget status.
Go ahead, Mr. Trevino.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Today, we're going to discuss, give you a brief discussion on the status of the 2020-21 school year budget. Okay. You did receive this yesterday, but you're also seeing it here on the screen. This presentation is in an effort to keep the board informed on the status of the current year's operating budget. I want to remind you that when we approved the original budget, the 2021 original budget, we were using funds from fund balance to balance our budget for that year. Just to remind you also that any potential savings that we are encountering because of the current situation that we're in will be to offset the amount being used from fund balance. Okay. Some of the topics that we'll be discussing and presenting to you would be the general fund expenditure budget status as of November 30th. We are also going to show you a comparison of the general fund payments that have been made as of the same specific time, November 30th, and also to share with you what COVID-19 expenditures we encountered since the beginning of this pandemic, and also the reimbursements that we have received or are pending reimbursement for. Okay. We go on to the next page, which is page 3. This one gives you an expenditure budget status as of November 30th, and it's broken down by the category. As you can see here, we do have our payroll costs We have an amended budget of $251 million. As of November 30, our total encumbered and expense amount is $55 million. There's still a difference of 196. That what we've used and expended amounts to about 22% of the total budget for that category. Under contracted services, we have an amended budget of $24,851,000, and we have expended or encumbered as of November 30th, $13,459,000. We still have a balance of $11,391,000, and right here we've already spent or encumbered, committed about 54% of our budget. Under supplies and materials, we have $27 million. We have encumbered or expended $10,392,000, and we have a balance of about $16.9 million. That represents we've spent or encumbered about 38% of our total of our budget for that category. Under other operating costs, we have $6.6 million. We've encumbered or expended about 2.7, and the difference about 3.9. That represents amount spent about 41.43 of the amount budgeted under this category. Under debt service, we have $5.6 million. We've encumbered 2.6. We have a balance of 2.9, and this will be the payment that will most likely be made in February. And we have spent about 47% of the budget. Under capital outlay, we have $17.4 million budgeted. We have expended and encumbered 13 million, leaving a balance of about 4.3. And here we've encumbered or expended almost 75%. As a whole, for the general fund, we have a total amended budget of 333 million. We have expended or encumbered 98 million, and there's available balance of 235, and we have spent 29.3% of our budget. Well, I tell you right now, this expenditure right here covers 3 months. If we were following equal monthly, 3 months of operations should represent about 25% of our budget usage. So we're slightly ahead of that as of November 30th. Okay, and some of them is because we pay, like especially like our contracted services, we already encumbered for the whole year. Okay. Any questions? Okay, if not, we can go on to the next page. The next 2 pages, this is a comparison from as of November 30th, and it's all payments made by the different object, and it's for all 100 funds. And we have it as of November 30th of 2019, which was our 2019-2020 school year. And we also have a list, the listing of amounts spent as of November 30th, 2020, which represents the current school year, which is 2021. And of course, the difference. What we did here, we highlighted those object codes that show an amount, whether we say we have more than 100,000 spent or less than 100,000. So the ones in highlighted. I want to go ahead and take you to page 5, where it has a total payments as of November 2019, we're at $75 million. And as of November 30th of 2020, we paid almost $74 million. We paid out $1.4 million less than last year at the same time. Okay. Like I said earlier, any savings that we are encountering and we're not spending it, it is to offset what we had originally taken out of fund balance to balance our budget. Okay. Any questions?
No, we took out 18 million and we've saved 1.4. So nomás nos faltan 17 million.
No más. So yes, and that's something that of course we're monitoring, and like we'll discuss at the last presentation, staffing. I mean, we did talk about staffing being about 75 to 80% of our budget, and those are the ones that are being monitored, and to ensure that if somebody leaves or retires, that we evaluate each one of those positions. Okay. If we go on to the next page, as Ms. Villarreal was talking, because of COVID, we've been working very closely with different organizations, and we did have some different funding sources that became available to us. We did have the coronavirus relief funds, which reference to as CRF. This program was managed through the Texas Department of Emergency Management. The application, we applied for it and it closed on September 30th. This particular program worked to reimburse the district for expenditures that were incurred between March 1st and May 20th. And we would get reimbursed at 75% of qualified expenditures. We submitted, we evaluated based on their allowable expenditures. We submitted 2.9 and we are anticipating a $2.1 million reimbursement from them. Of course, it would have to go through their screening. They're going to evaluate. This was a very strenuous process. We had to upload every single invoice, PO, check, everything. So we are pending reimbursement on that. The next program was also the CRF, but this is a prior purchase reimbursement program. This application opened November 20th and it closed on, the first round closed on December 1st. And we wanted to take advantage of submitting the documentation as of on December 1st because for districts that submitted by that time, they would guarantee that the reimbursement percentage would be at 75%. So again, this one was also very strenuous. We did submit $4.6 million in expenditures, and we're anticipating a 3.5 reimbursement. These were for any expenditure incurred after May 21st, and that we have to receive the goods and services by December 30th. So we still have an opportunity to include additional costs as we're receiving equipment and things like that. We also have the coronavirus relief fund, and this was a bulk purchase program managed through TEA and Region 4. Here we purchased, I put hotspots, I'm sorry, this is a correction. It should be Chromebooks. We purchased about 9,767 Chromebooks. How this worked is TEA originally said, if you want to participate in this program, you pay half and TEA would pay the other half. So at that point in time, we ordered those 9,700 Chromebooks, and the total cost was 2.2. TEA paid 1.1 and the district paid 1.1. Then later on, TEA came back and said, if you reach out to your local county, to your county and to your cities and see if they are able to match the 1/4 of the original cost, we would match that 1/4. We were very grateful and we are very grateful to Hidalgo County. They were able to match $556,000. So therefore, we're pending reimbursement from TEA of the additional $556,000. That would mean that we would receive 9,767 Chromebooks for free at zero cost to us. So that is something that we're waiting for. We did have other COVID-19 related expenditures of 2.3. Some of these were pending clarification. Some of them may not be reimbursed, but if we do get clarification and we're able to include those, we would of course include them and try to get some additional reimbursement for the district. Okay, so far we spent about $12.2 million in all sorts of type of expenditures, ranging from hotspots, Chromebooks, iPads, the internet connectivity for those hotspots and so forth. So those are the type of expenditures. We have been reimbursed $1.6 million, and we're pending $6.2 million to be reimbursed. Any questions on any one of these categories?
The only question I have, out of the 12 million, for example, you said, let's just say the Chromebooks that, you were going to pay 1.1 and the state was going to pay 1.1, or that fund, that coronavirus relief fund. The 1.1 that we have to pay, or that we have to pay, was it money, additional money from the general fund, or was it money that had been allocated for technology, and was that included, or is this extra?
This was extra money that that the district paid out. And luckily, you know, we are going to, should reimburse 100% of that.
So if that's the case, and if we've been reimbursed 6 million, that means that there's a chance that 6 million, we're not going to get reimbursed. So in addition to tapping into the general fund with 18 million, we're going to tap into it with another 6 million.
And yes, that's part of it. Let me just remind you that some of these expenses occurred prior to August 31st. Okay. So some of those those expenditures have already been incurred.
But
So,
anything that was not incurred by August 31st, it's additional money to add to that 18 million.
In some circumstances, yes. In some, it's amounts that were already previously budgeted.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Thank you, Dr. Benavides.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Anybody have any more questions, guys? If not, then we will be moving on to consent agenda. Can I entertain a motion?
So move.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the next one, guys, under letter C, business and finance.
Board President, I'd like to make a motion for items 6 through 9 for approval.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Garza for items 6 through 9.
I had a question on an item.
Okay.
How do we go about the
motion?
I second it.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second, but Mr. Cantu has a question. So go ahead, Mr. Cantu.
I just have one on number 9. This is for what? To go for RFQs for an agent of record?
Ben?
Yes, Mr. Board President, members of the board. Yes, sir, Mr. Cantu, this is an RFQ to go out for an agent of record.
Do we need an agent of record right now as we speak?
I'm not sure. That's a question for administration.
Mr. Trevino, do you want to respond to that?
We would need an agent of record to assist the district and to ensure that all of our employees are getting the services when it comes to the voluntary products, as well as our general the health insurance, group health insurance plan.
And our department can handle that right now?
We do do some of that, but since we are not insured to sell the voluntary products also, that's where the agent of record will come in, and he would be the one to sell those products to them. We as a district are not allowed to sell the products. We can enroll our employees in the health and dental, because that's a product that we offer, but the voluntary products, it needs to be a licensed agent.
What aren't our employees already enrolled for this year?
Yes, sir. We did the open enrollment, but any new employees that come into the district would have to be go through that process.
I would also like Mr. Castillo, Ben, if you could make a clarification that we're not, I don't want our staff to be confused. We're not changing insurance. It's their insurance is going to continue the same. Could you make a clarification on that, Mr. Castillo?
Yes, Dr. Benavides. This item is strictly for the agent of record. It has nothing to do with the third-party administrator or any of the products that we have or that the district allows for voluntary products. So this really should have no effect on any of the insurance coverages that the employees currently have.
I have a question for legal counsel, though. Are we required to have an agent of records? I mean, is it something that we can do in-house? If we were to, get all that product and all that information? I mean, have somebody do it in-house?
In my conversations with Mr. Trevino, I think the only issue that we have would be the sale of the voluntary products whenever a new employee would come in. I don't know what the procedures and systems that we have within the district are with respect to enrolling new employees. But that's one of the uses for an agent, other than being somebody for them to call. But I guess to answer your question, simply no. The answer is no. You can either have a consultant that could help you with that, or if you have a designated insurance person that works for your district that may have a license, that could probably get around the selling part.
Don't we have a consultant already?
The district hired a consultant, but that when the district hired the consultant, it was strictly to evaluate the bids that came in for TPA services and maybe even the voluntary products. Mr. Trevino, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, you're right, Mr. Garcia. That consultant was hired only for that specific project to evaluate and recommend the bids that came in for both the health insurance plan and the voluntary product.
So we don't have consent right now.
So we
Not
don't
to my
have a
knowledge.
No.
But it's something that we can work on that, right? That we can have in-house instead of going out and getting somebody or contracting somebody. You think it's something that it could be possible, Mr. Trevino?
That is something, like I said, we cannot sell because we're not licensed, and I'm not sure if as a district we can actually sell the product. There would have to be some sort of agent to sell those. And that's something that we probably maybe through legal counsel ask and find out if that is allowed for us to be selling them. That is the only issue that we have.
Well, as of right now, there's a motion on the board, on the table, and for the lack of us being able to have some new employees coming in, because when we do know on the holidays is when we have some turnover right after them coming back. So for us to make sure that we have a product available for our employees, again, there's a motion on the table right now.
I would like to look more into item 9, because we might have staff that's qualified to help if 1 or 2 employees coming in and trying to save the district money.
Okay, so for the record, Ben, if you and Mr. Trevino can work on getting that information, what it would take for a license if we were able to hold it. But like Mr. Garza said, and any other concerns that Ms. Hernandez had as well. But there is a motion by Mr. Garza and a second by Ms. Ochoa, right, Esperanza? Am I correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I did second it, and I did ask Dr. Sines, and because it is being recommended by administration, she did stress to me that it is needed, that Mr. Trevino is needing this help, but I also feel that we should start cross-training and meet the needs and maybe do in-house, but I do have a second, yes.
Okay, therefore, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, guys?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to letter D, under instruction and student services. Number 3, approval of the La Jolla ISD rapid testing program.
No move.
A motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll take Mr. Cantu's second right there. All those in favor, guys?
Okay.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next, under human resources, item number 1, school district teaching permit for non-core academic career and technology education.
I so move, Mr. Salinas, on human resources for approval on items 1 and 2.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Ochoa. Can I attain a second?
I take it back. I'll second for item number 1.
Okay, so you're seconding for item number 1?
Yes.
But you're making a motion for both of them. Can we approve and then question, or you would rather do number 1 by itself?
I understand that there was a question on item number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you take your motion and redo it again, SB?
Okay, I rescind the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Ochoa for item number 1, correct?
Right.
Okay, and the second came from who?
Item number 1, I'll second.
Okay, I'll take Mr. Cantu second. All those in favor, guys?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. And then under human resource, number 2, discussion and approval of the disinfection team stipend.
I so move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay.
The question I had is because anytime that you're going to give additional money to anyone who's already under contract, you need to be specific in the writing. And on this agenda item, we don't know who the team is, and we don't have those specifics to be able to approve it.
Dr. Stein, you can go ahead and fill us in with that, can you?
We just want approval to get the team and we'll bring the names at the next board meeting. And the
Well, then
amounts.
I suggest that we just wait because
Yeah.
we were approving right here blanket for a team and we don't know the team.
I'd say we table the item.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, correct? So I'm not gonna take a vote on this one, Ben, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then all those in favor, guys, of approval, indicating by saying aye.
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 Okay, I have Mr. Cantu, and then those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so then we bring it back. Can I have another motion?
I just want to make sure for clarification that, when something's put on the agenda, just to be, I know the law has changed consistently, so I know it's been postponed. Things right.
Okay, so can I have a motion on that, on this one?
A motion to table.
Okay, so I have a motion by Mr. Garza.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, guys, so now it's exactly 2:09 on my time. We be going into executive session under sections codes 551071, 551072, and 551074 at 2:08. Okay, guys, we are out of executive session at 2:26.
I'd like to make a motion from item 1 through 7 as discussed in executive session.
I have a motion by Mr. Garza.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes, and now I'll attain a motion for adjournment, guys.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second there. And this is the end of the meeting, guys. Thank you so much. Everyone stay safe.